Hello, everyone, and welcome live to 3Wine TV, tonight's broadcast of the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series. It is race number 1 of the Star Spangled Bash, brought to you by our friends over at BeerStreetJournal.com. I am Peter Short, and alongside me here tonight is Andre Graham Bush. And Andre, it is a tough race for the first round of the Star Spangled Bash, the Monster Mile, as it is called, and we already see some drivers having problems out of turn number 4.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a fun one and definitely tough for the drivers. I've heard this track compared to a roller coaster, and usually if the track's getting compared to a roller coaster, you're going to be having a tough time behind the wheel. You kind of dive down into the corners and you jump back out. Huge elevation changes in and out to get on board here during the final moments of practice. You just kind of see right there, up the hill, back down the hill on the straightaway. It's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, this is a racetrack where you not only have to race the racetrack, but you also have to almost race your tires, because the tires wear off very quickly here. You have to be careful about how much you decide to lean on the right front here and the right rear for that matter. If you wear out the right front, your truck's going to end up turning into a dump truck. You're just going to drive up the racetrack. You're not going to be able to turn. If you wear out the right rear, your car's going to be turning too much. You're going to get loose up out of these corners, especially right here, as you mentioned, Andre. When you jump up out of the racetrack, you can really feel the steering wheel even get a little bit slippery underneath your hands when that happens, especially if you have one of these fancy force feedback wheels like these drivers have here tonight. Currently, Jeff Price is the fastest driver in this practice session out there on the racetrack in his number 14 machine. Good lap time by him. David Buell second, Julian Tesoro, Mike Floppy Tellier, and our new points leader, Philip Scott, rounding out our top 5. Andre.
Yeah, new points leader indeed. The points picture really got shaken up last week. I don't think any of us really predicted the running order we were going to get. Well, not last week, I apologize, 2 weeks ago. And that's kind of what you see in these longer seasons. This has been a very long season so far and a lot more races to go even. So you're going to see the points dip and rise for some of these drivers over time. And for our new points leader, it's going to be a game of consistency, which at a track like Dover, I think that's always the game. You don't necessarily want to be the fastest. Like you said, it's kind of a game of racing your tires, making sure that you keep them underneath you, make sure that you don't get involved in any incidents, because here at this track, there's no runoff. The back straightaway, the front straightaway, you can see that safer barrier is right at the bottom of the straightaway, so if something does happen, there's really nowhere to go.
Yeah, this racetrack is very, very difficult if you do make a mistake. We've seen a couple of drivers been able to spin around and not hit a wall, but I think kind of a story of this racetrack is if you're sideways, a wall is not very far away. We're watching the number 48 machine, Tom Lester out there right now. Dominic Tesoro a little bit further back, the number 69 machine. Of course, tonight is the first race of the 2-race series, the Beer Street Journal Star Spangled Bash here. Of course, last weekend was 4th of July weekend, and we're going to celebrate that all month long here on 3 Wide TV. We are going to be having a poll in the chat for the best-looking patriotic scheme. So we'll be highlighting those patriotic schemes here tonight. There's the number 69, Dominic Tesoro, with red, white, and blue on the side of his Toyota Tundra. We also got a couple of other drivers out there in the field here tonight. A little bit of camo on that number 69 machine as well. So we'll be checking in on those drivers here tonight as we go over into the qualifying session. And Andre, there's a lot of money on the line here tonight. And it starts off with $5 to the pole sitter here tonight. The only caveat, the only asterisk, if you will, to that $5 is you have to have a patriotic scheme to win that $5. So if you start on the pole and you have a patriotic scheme, you get $5. If you don't have a patriotic scheme, you're out of luck. So that is kind of the rules to the Star Spangled Bash, and we'll see which of these drivers able to do so here tonight. Here's number 21. That's Tyler Bellinger heading down the front straight. He's going to head off towards turn number 1 in the Quality Care number 21. Very similar to what we saw Dale Jarrett run back in the day, Andre.
Yeah, pretty similar. Only difference is the deck lid sponsors backwards on that one. But hey, we're not going to nitpick. It's a nice scheme. I always love that Ford Quality Care. In addition to the $5 for pole position, the Star Spangled Bash has some other money up for grabs, including halfway leader, $5, hard charger, $5, 5th and 10th in the race are going to get $5, whereas the winner will get 10, again, as long as they are running patriotic schemes, such as that car on screen right there. Also have a bonus for the upcoming race at Texas, which isn't this one. Highest finisher with at least 2x will get $5 in that race. So that's kind of an interesting little bonus round, so to speak. But we're going to have a poll in the chat later tonight for the viewers to vote on the best patriotic paint scheme of the night. And, of course, the winner may get a little bit of, well, considering it's the Beer Street Journal Star Spangled Bash, a little bit of beer money maybe.
Yeah, I would say there's David Buell coming off the racetrack right now. Tumbling down the order was one of the fastest drivers in practice a little while ago. Now all the way back to the back half of the top 10. Blaine Sparling, number 59 Mobile, looking nice and snazzy. One of the Tesoro Motorsports Toyota Tundras in the field here tonight. I haven't seen a lot of Blaine Starling this season. Good to see him in the field, but looks like the racetrack is pretty quickly falling fairly quiet. Stan Hausman in the Beer Street Journal, number 39, out there right now trying to get a lap time in. Currently last of the 16 drivers to take time. That's going to be difficult for Stan to start so far back, but we still have a couple drivers out there on the racetrack. This one right here, Tom Lester in his number 48, working his way through turns number 1 and 2. If you're wondering at home whether or not someone will be picking up the $5, well, right now, Philip Scott in a patriotic scheme and currently on the provisional poll, he would be walking away with $5 if he's able to hold on to that spot. Tom Lester just moved up inside the top 10 into the 8th position. Dominic Tesoro out on his timed lap. What can he do coming out of turn number 4? Come to the line right now. He's going to put his Toyota Tundra into the 14th position. So not a great lap time for Dominic Tesoro. And as the racetrack starts to fall quiet, we only have a couple drivers, Jason Shue and Dalton Hayes, yet to turn a lap time. And it looks like Philip Scott, our points leader, will be starting on the pole here tonight, Andre.
Yeah, it's going to be a great start as long as he holds on to it, which we're kind of expecting he will. That was a really good lap time, 22.870 to the second place Tesoro with a 22.9. That is a little under a tenth, so not bad at all, especially when you look at the gaps behind him. It gets so close between 3rd, 4th, and 5th. You got 22.94, 22.95. I mean, it's crazy how close these guys are as we go on board with Jason Shue. He's finally going to turn a lap on number 3 machine. So far, it looks like his first lap is going to be a 22.87. Let's see what he can do. No, that would be the full time. I apologize. So let's see what he can do in comparison to that. Get a really good sense of just how much this track throws you around with his gyro cam. You can see the car dip and dive and rotate all throughout the corner. He's going to get down at the bottom of the banking just against the apron. His lap is going to put him, well, not on the pole quite yet. Work his way through 1 and 2. Try to improve on that time. You can see right underneath his name what his current lap time is. 8 tenths off the pole time last time. Let's see what he's got this time. Through 3 and 4, hugging that bottom lane. That's a place to be, it would seem, Peter. Going across the stripe. Where's he going to be? Looks like it's going to be a 24.6 for his second lap, so a little bit slower.
Yeah, so Jason Shue will stay in the 19th position, and that will do it for qualifying. Congratulations to Philip Scott, our points leader, picking up $5 for our Beer Street Journal winner here tonight of this wonderful event that they've all put together, the Star Spangled Bash here on 3 Wide TV. Let's see if we can get things lined up, though, for all you folks at home. Tonight's starting lineup up front on the pole, like we said, is Philip Scott. Julian Tesoro will be starting on his outside. Great qualifying lap time by Julian Tesoro. Wasn't up there in qualifying. But how about the 3rd place driver, Vincent Valvano? Right there, the Backcraft number 64, sporting red, white, and blue. Great qualifying lap time. Qualified in front of the last race winner from Texas Motor Speedway, Jason Gracias. He'll be starting on the outside of row number 2. Mike Floppy-Tellier, the Canadian, will be starting on the inside of row number 3. Of course, it was Canada Day about a week ago. In fact, a week ago today was Canada Day. Adam Newton will be starting on his outside in the number 29 machine. Row number 4 was our previous points leader, Tristan Maher, in the Eclipse Photography Ford F-150. Alongside him, Tom Lester, Jeff Price, and Tyler Bellinger will round out our top 10 here tonight, Andre.
And just looking outside the top 10, you got Justin White and David Buell, 11th and 12th. 13th place is going to go to Blaine Sparling, alongside Dominic Tesoro in 14th. Got Doug Neal and Adam Dama, 15 and 16. Uncle Jimbo Casterline, P17, alongside Stan Hausman. Jason Shu keeping on that 19th position from his qualifying effort there. And it lists Scott Tompkins. I think he's race control. But Dalton Hayes in that 47 will grid right behind that number 3. And that is going to be your starting order for the night here at Dover. We got 180 laps of fun ahead of us here, Peter.
Yeah, it is definitely a little bit of an uphill battle for these drivers here tonight to work their way around this racetrack for tonight's event. It's not an easy racetrack, and it's also not the shortest event that we've had this season. Although we haven't seen a lot of caution flags, that's been the good news. We hope that will continue here tonight. We all are one ministry, rooting on the Tesoros here tonight. Ryder Lee Angle rooting on Philip Scott. Alicia Casterline saying, good luck, Jimbo. Stay tuned sports in the chat as well, saying that he is going to vote for the Stay Tuned Sports truck as the best paint scheme. Jimbo, I don't think you can vote for yourself there, buddy. And Darian Caitlin recently engaged to Adam Dama, rooting on the number 28 machine here for this 1 mile racetrack. Thank you for all tuning in here tonight on 3 Wide TV. We all appreciate it very, very much here on the channel as the iRacing pace car works the field through turns number 3 and 4. We will be going green this time, Andre. We will hear the horsepower whipping their way around this racetrack here in just under a lap from now. It is going to be a good race here tonight. I always love coming to Dover, and what a way to kick off the Beer Street Journal Star Spangled Bash. Coming out of turn number 4, green flag in the flagman's hand. We're racing here at Dover.
Tell you what, that was a crazy start. The outside got checked up a little bit a few rows back, and now the 97 is actually going to fall off the rear bumper of the car ahead of him. A little bit of contact with the 29 machine, and that's going to separate the field early here, which could be a blessing in disguise for these leaders. We got a 2-car breakaway already. Philip Scott in the 99 trying to fend off the number 30, Julian Tesoro. Look at that run out of the corner. That 30's getting Peter. He's coming.
Yeah, that number 30 with a really good run. Looking now to the inside, one of the drivers sporting a patriotic scheme here tonight. In fact, 2 drivers sporting a patriotic scheme going toe-to-toe through turns number 1 and 2. And it will be the number 30 of Julian Tesoro squeaking his way out front here for the first time here tonight. He will come around to lead lap number 2. Meanwhile, back behind him, pretty much everyone getting single file except for way back in the field as Julian's brother back here, Dominic, going toe-to-toe with the number 77 of Doug Neal. Gift that spot to the number 77 of Doug Neal. Of course, sporting Simbox on his truck. Here's another Simbox truck. That's David Buell. And Buell started in the 12th position. Andre has already slid back to 17th. What a disastrous opening lap for the number 52.
Yeah, he may have been one of the drivers that got caught up in that checkup. There was a huge accordion effect, and a few drivers really had that to their detriment. But we got a pass for the lead right now going on. Jason Gracias looked like he was going to get to the inside of the number 30. Didn't quite make it. He had to back out. But I think that number 1 truck is currently faster than our leader. It's going to be a matter of trying to find the right opportunity. Number 30 made short work of the 99. He made passing look easy, but I don't think there's going to be too many passes tonight that look quite so simple. Dover is very much a 1-lane track, especially in these trucks, so sometimes when it comes to passing, it'll be about patience as much as it's about speed. Look at that number 1 closing in through the center of the corner. So much center speed and so much rotation on exit. He was able to keep it down so low. This is going to be a good battle as he actually blinks a little bit there. Some internet issues from Jason Gracias. But both these drivers now starting to form a gap to the 99, who actually, look at this, player 4 has entered the battle as Vincent Valvano has kind of caught back up to these leaders in that 64 truck. Another patriotic scheme. He's going to try to maybe make a bid for it up here.
Yeah, that number 30 working his way around the racetrack as the race leader, at least for right now. Let's look a little bit further back in the pack where things have calmed down just a little bit. Getting single file. Here's Dalton Hayes and his Terry Labonte inspired throwback scheme. He's been able to pick up a few positions since the drop of the green flag, but running right now behind David Buell. As you can see just how things have got single file through a majority of the field. Here we go, Adam Newton in the number 29 machine. He's being hounded by the number 17 of Maher. And, you know, Andre, we got single file pretty quickly here. I wonder if these drivers are realizing that you have to kind of be careful about the longevity of these tires. And so you don't want to overwork them here tonight. You don't want to end up with the tires falling off and you sliding your way back through the field as the run goes on, because we have seen so far this season very, very few caution flags. These drivers have done a great job all season long of staying off of one another and keeping things clean and green. And speaking of staying off one another, right up at the front of the field, Jason Grossi is toe-to-toe with the number 30 here of Julian Tesoro.
I figured it would be a matter of time. He did get that low line, and that's what happens right there. See that number 30 getting a little bit sideways? There is no grip. Once you get to the lighter part of the racetrack where the rubber's not laid down, your truck is going to be a handful. So, I mean, massive props to Tesoro and the 30 for keeping that thing under control. But when somebody makes the pass on you, you've got to make sure that they can make it quick and clean and that you have a quick way back to the bottom of the track. Because if you can't get down there and you're stuck on top, you may well find yourself sliding out of control. So they got to be real careful of that. But man, oh man, that 99, I'm not sure if he brushed the wall there or not, but Philip Scott flirting with it coming out of the corner just a little bit sideways. Things are heating up pretty quick here.
Well, we better get a look at some of these paint schemes before they scrape off the side, because there is a poll right now in the chat of the best patriotic scheme semifinal number 1. So the winner of this poll will go to the next round, if you will. So go get voting in the chat. This is semifinal number 1. Here is the number 30 of Julian Tesoro, one of the choices. You get that, and I don't even think you can see it. Andre, can you see that car? He told me it was camouflaged. I can't see it. It just blends right into the racetrack. My, oh my. There's the number 30 of Julian Tesoro. Right behind him is Philip Scott, another one of the drivers sporting a Spirit of Tuskegee paint scheme. Of course, back in World War II, the U.S. Army trainers, the Air Corps, used to have trainers in this paint scheme for, of course, all the people who flew in World War II. So a really cool looking paint scheme on that number 99, sporting the old U.S. Army Air Corps logo on the front as well. Throwing it back as well. Let's look a little bit further back to the number 59 machine. This is Blaine Sparling in the RSD machine. Another one of our patriotic schemes here tonight. Really cool design on that one. Right behind him is one of those paint schemes. Will be in the later poll. That's the number 2 of Justin White. The number 59 machine is also followed on the racetrack by the number 69, who's also in semifinal number 1 in the chat poll. The number 69 right there, that is Dominic Tesoro, currently riding in the 13th position, right behind Blaine Sparling. Was right behind Blaine Sparling, makes that pass, will move himself up into the 12th position, just like that. But got those stars and stripes on the side of a very good-looking race truck here tonight, Andre.
Yeah, that number 69 does look pretty good. Kind of a unique take on a patriotic scheme. You don't always see a chrome car with some red, white, and blue, but I think it actually works really well. A lot of great schemes out here tonight. I think the viewers are going to have a tough time voting. I know I did. I cast my vote, but man, if I could, I'd vote for numerous cars. There's the number 18, Jimbo Casterline. I think he might be a little off pace there. What's the story, Peter?
Yeah, some right side damage. The number 18 Stay Tuned Sports Podcast machine has made some contact with the outside wall. Unfortunately, now sliding back through the field. Started this race up in the 17th position, now back in 20th. We jump forward, though, because we got some good battling up near the front of the field. As Julian Tesoro almost got into the outside wall. Jason Grossi is still suffering with a few connection issues right there at the point of the field as we are just about to click off lap number 19 here tonight. It is a 1-mile racetrack, so lap times click by in quite a hurry here. We got some side-by-side battling back here. Dalton Hayes and Stan Hausman going toe-to-toe. Stan Hausman's number 39 Pierce Street Journal machine will be in the second semifinal in the poll. So there is the Beer Street Journal Ford F-150. The first poll will end on lap number 60. So if you're a little bit undecided, we still have a ways to go. And of course, you'll have to stick around to vote for your favorite paint scheme in the final after lap number 120 here tonight. So Alicia Casterline saying, I'm not voting for Stay Tuned Sports just to be spiteful. Well, the rules were, Alicia, and so I know you probably still have a little bit of a tussle with Jimbo over the pronunciation of certain words. We won't go into that here tonight. But you can get back at him and point to him and say, you don't have a patriotic scheme here tonight. You're not even eligible. He failed at the eligibility. I don't know. I mean, he's got his name up at the top. And it is the NSRA Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series. But he failed at the one thing that could have got him in at the pot here tonight. And it is a big pot. Let's talk about other ways to make money here tonight. You mentioned, Andre, a little bit earlier, halfway leader, $5 if you have a patriotic scheme. Hard charger, most improved positions in a race. If you have a patriotic scheme, that's $5. If you're the winner of the race, $10 if you have a patriotic scheme. 5th and 10th place are lucky positions. If you have a patriotic scheme and you finish 5th or 10th, you get $5. And then the highest finisher with at least 2 incident points tonight gets $5. And then over this race and the next race at USA International, if you have the most improved finish, so you don't finish well tonight, but you finish well next week, and you have a patriotic scheme on both weekends, that's $10. There's a lot of ways to make money over these next 2 races. Tonight being the first race of the Star Spangled Bash, next week at USA International. Short track racing, that's going to be a heck of a lot of fun when money's on the line, Andre.
Oh yeah, USA International is a very unique track. You don't see it in a lot of truck leagues or NASCAR leagues because it's really more of I think what people would consider kind of a street stock track. It's a very tight, close quarters track, and it's going to make for some awesome racing. It's very flat, very reminiscent of, let's say, New Hampshire. So it's going to be a lot of fun, short track racing with money on the line. You might see a few bump and runs. You never know. I also want to point out, you said that the poll was going to end at lap 60, which actually, if my calculations are correct, that'll be just about when we start seeing our first round of green flag stops, should it stay green. These guys can definitely make it 60 laps, and if they do that, they'd be splitting it up into 2 stops perfectly. Lap 60, lap 120, and then 60 laps to the end there at 180. So no cautions yet. I'm kind of expecting this to stay green, knock on wood. But it'll be really interesting because one thing we haven't talked about, and we got to talk about it every time we come here, Peter, that pit road is it's something. It is not fun to get to, as you see Jim Casterline getting there right now on the apron, but you got to slow up so early, and you have to be so careful getting into this pit road because the window for error is just non-existent.
Yeah, the window for error here is basically none, and we've seen that even in the NASCAR Cup Series over the years with drivers hitting those barrels on entry into pit lane. One thing we do want to mention, though, is Philip Scott right here, the number 99, has had contact with the outside wall. You see a little bit of right front damage. He just lost the 3rd position to the number 97 of Mike Floppy Tellier. Tellier able to get around and put just a little bit of a distance between himself and Philip as the lap count continues to click on by here. But Andre, I think you're right. Lap number 60, I think, is where we're start to see some of these drivers head down pit road. They can't make it to halfway, so you're going to have to split this race into thirds. And with the tire wear that they see here, it is pretty significant. Let's see if we can bring up, at the top of the screen, we're going to bring up the driver's best lap time up there, just underneath the driver's name. Best lap time, you see a lot of 23.5, 23.6s up near the top of the field. We see some 23.3s even. We'll let that cycle on through. You can see right here, Jason Grossi is a 23.373. Mike Floppy Tellier, 23.379. Now I'm going to flip it over to what they're actually running right now. 24.8 last time for Tristan Maher. 24.79 for Justin White. these drivers are over a second already, almost 2 seconds slower than what they were running at the beginning of this green flag run, Andre. That's only in 32 laps. They have another 30 or so laps on these tires. The drop-off here at Dover is immense.
Oh, it is so fast, and you see that a lot on a lot of concrete tracks. Concrete's just very different from asphalt. It can be a lot more grating on the tires, not because of the surface itself, but rather you're sliding a lot more. Concrete does not have as much grip as asphalt, so when you're sliding around and getting that friction on the tires, you're going to be heating them up, which means they're going to fade quicker. The track is also slightly less susceptible to temperature changes, so it kind of stays more even throughout. You never really have that moment of saving grace where you get some cloud cover and the track gets more grip and you're not sliding around as much. The track just kind of stays the same temperature unless there's some drastic swing in the atmosphere. So it's tough on tires, and it always has been. And like you said, they're only halfway through this stint, and they've lost a second and a half. Some of these drivers even losing up to 2 seconds now. It is extreme, and you can see it in the way they're driving. When they work their way through the corner, start of the race, they looked real stable, pretty comfortable. But now, every time one of these trucks hits that bump on corner exit, you can see them fighting that thing to keep it straight.
Oh yeah, for sure. Meanwhile, a little bit further back in the field, battling for a top 5, Tristan Maher just got around Vincent Valvano. We got the back end of that battle. Now Valvano falling into the clutches of Justin White and his Grinds Coffee Pouches machine. We saw a brief look of someone on pit road. That is the number 28 of Adam Dama, the driver who's driving in Korea, stationed over there in the U.S. Armed Forces. And Dama currently on pit road for an early pit stop in his number 28 machine, so able to get down onto pit lane. And now in his pit box, we'll see if Dama is able to get back out there on the racetrack. Jimbo Casterline was able to get back out there after a lengthy pit stop, and I can report Adam Dama still stationary in his box here, as unfortunately for Vincent Valvano, slid back behind Adam Newton now. Started in 3rd and dropped back to 8th.
Yeah, just dropping back through the running order a little bit. You're going to see that. Sometimes these kinds of tracks, it's a totally different experience qualifying versus actually racing. It's one thing to hot lap around a track that's this tough to drive, but to consistently click off laps time after time after time and to maintain your momentum, it's really, really difficult. And these guys make it look easy. I mean, every driver in this league is just complete talent. I mean, the lack of yellow flags we've had this season shows that. So these guys make it look easy, but sometimes even just staying up on the ball and keeping the momentum up, it's difficult. We got a side-by-side battle. The number 59 machine underneath the 21, that Dale Jarrett-esque throwback, and it looks like he's going to make the move. Now, possibly a crossover. Nope, he's going to think better of it, but man, that's the story, Peter. Every time you get up underneath somebody, you've pretty much completed the pass, because there's just not a whole lot you can do to fight back on the high side.
Yeah, there's just not a lot. You are right. Meanwhile, up in front of him, Dominic Tesoro, Tom Lester battling for a top 10 position, and looks like Tesoro will take that away in the number 69. So a couple of battles here breaking out about 2/3 of the way through at least what we expect to be the opening run here tonight at the Dover International Speedway. There's some smoke that's come from a couple of drivers who have left pit road. Adam Dama has worked his way back up onto the racing surface. There is the number 28 machine. You'll see some right front damage on that truck. I would assume that the Afraid Knots number 28 machine probably came down to get some of that damage repaired, and might have been slowing him down a little bit more than he wanted. And he's back out there on the racetrack, hopefully able to make up some position. He is a couple of laps down. Dalton Hayes, the number 48, is on pit road right now. And is that a blown motor, or is that just... that is a blown motor. Oh, dear goodness. Dalton Hayes could be our first retirement of the night. Let's see if we can figure out what caused the number 47's engine to go kaput here.
Dialing it up on the 3-wide TV replay. Let's follow along with the Texas Terry throwback and see exactly what led to all this. A lot of right side damage, so I'm assuming it started out with a nice slap to the outside wall, but we will see the full story unravel momentarily as soon as it pulls up here.
This is an odd one, Andre. I'm going to, go a ways back, and I think we finally sorted it out. Here we go, battling side by side with the Stoundhouseman a little bit further back in the pack. They worked their way out of turn number 4. There was a little bit of contact, maybe a little bit of net code, and Dalton Hayes into the outside wall. And that engine decided to give up the ghost very, very quickly. And unfortunately for Dalton Hayes, his night might come to an early end here.
I think there was definitely some net code. You're right about that. The way that truck reacted to the contact was really exaggerated, and usually that means there was net code. As for the engine blowing, the only thing I can think of, Peter, is maybe he kind of panicked and downshifted, because that kind of damage normally would not be enough to blow up the motor. I mean, these trucks, they're pretty tanky. They can take a hit here and there. That was really baffling.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a surprise, not only to us in the booth, but probably down there in that number 47 machine. We do have this battle happening on the racetrack between the number 59 machine right there, Blaine Sparling, and the number 48 of Tom Lester. Well, that's not a battle anymore, as the 48 decides to come down onto pit lane. Lester might have had a little bit of a interesting moment there right as he finally did enter pit lane. Let's see if we can ride on board maybe with the number 48 machine as he decided to make that lunge down onto pit lane. Oh, locked up the brakes. There's the tire, or not tires, but the barrels at the end of pit lane. And I don't know. We might have to get another look at that one here, Andre, on whether or not he actually made any contact with those tire barriers or not.
Yeah, it's going to be close. Follow along with this number 48. He's just trying to dive down to pit road. He gets down on the apron, slides it sideways. See, those tires are locked up. And then he does a smart thing right there. He actually gets back off the brakes and lets it roll, which I think just saved him. He did hit that sand barrel. He clipped it with the right rear, but I don't think that's going to be too bad in terms of damage. That was a fine piece of driving. If he had stayed on those brakes, Peter, that would have been a whole lot worse. But watch, he lets it roll right there. And it saved him.
Yeah, so just looking back out there at the racetrack. Oh, there he is. He's back now. And I was just looking for any damage on the side of that number 48 machine. No, doesn't look like it. Looks like he'll be good to go. Interestingly enough here, Andre, I thought, like you had said, I thought these drivers were going to try and make it to lap number 60. Doesn't look like it. Lap number 50, we got a whole bunch of drivers on pit road, led by your race leader, Jason Gracias. We also got Julian Tesoro and the number 97 of Mike Floppy Telliers. They both were able to gain a little bit of ground. As Tesoro misses his pit box, has to throw it in reverse. That's going to be costly for Julian Tesoro.
That could cost him the lead. Keep an eye on the number 1 behind him, Jason Gracias. He's going to cycle out just in front of him. It's going to cost him more than lead, Peter. That's going to cost him 2, maybe 3 positions here. There's 2 positions as he just barely sneaks in front of that number 2 machine. That is the cost of a mistake. You go just a little bit too quick, slide through your stall a little bit too much, and that's what happens. We got a few more cars down pit road. Philip Scott in that 99, as well as number 14 machine behind him. But this is really surprising me, Peter. I was really expecting lap 60 for the majority of the field, but now they're a little bit off sequence in terms of trying to split it into thirds. I think they could still make it to lap 120, theoretically, if they save, but any way you look at it, they're going to have a long stint, and you think you wouldn't want to do that with the way the tire wear has been.
Yeah, we'll see how that all shakes out as the race continues on. Here's Adam Newton, the number 29 Budweiser Toyota Tundra, still staying out there on the racetrack, has inherited the race lead, at least for right now, as he goes across the stripe to complete lap number 53 here tonight. 29 of Adam Newton started this race in the 6th position, fell back a spot or 2. Your race leader under this round of green flag pit stop, Stan Hausman, has elected to come down pit lane in his Beer Street Journal number 39 machine. If you have not checked out beerstreetjournal.com yet so far this season, folks, make sure you do so, because some really, really cool paint schemes just websites. Talking of paint schemes, that's a really cool paint scheme on that number 39 machine. But some really, really cool beers and information on their website that you're able to go and check out. Adam Newton in the number 29 machine has decided to come down pit road. There he is coming into his pit box. That's going to relinquish the lead to David Buell, although here comes David Buell coming down pit road as we speak, and that should get us through this round of pit stops. But one thing I'm going to check on here, Andre, I just saw this pop up on my screen, that Jeff Price and his number 14 back channel production Chevy Silverado, did something happen here getting to pit lane? Oh, I'm not sure. He just jumped out of the race truck. Maybe he had to go to the bathroom or something. I don't know, but the number 14 took a tow back to his pit box from pit lane. That's definitely surprising and out of the ordinary.
Yeah, that was strange because he had actually already pitted prior to that, Peter. Remember, he was right behind another truck. I believe it was Philip Scott. He was right behind Philip Scott when he pitted, so that was the second time he came down pit lane. You might be right there, Peter. Maybe something going on outside of the sim. Maybe he needed a bathroom break, or maybe a family emergency of some sort. But we hope all is well for the number 14, and I'm sure we'll get an update in the Discord later as to what was going on. But while the pit cycle is kind of finishing out and everybody's sorting themselves out on track, just want to get some love to chat. Johnny Williams said, good luck all. Hello to the booth. Wish I was there, but I got family coming in from Kansas. Enjoy your family time. Some things are a little bit more important than virtual race cars, but thank you for being in the chat and for supporting the broadcast. And we all are one ministry, Inc. says, let's go Dominic Tesoro, the number 69. He's got some Tesoro fans in here. We got Tesoro fans everywhere, and understandable. Pretty solid drivers. But yeah, just a little bit of interaction with the chat. Love to see it.
Cool. I mean, getting, a little bit of almost a moment there, Andre, as the couple of the leaders came up on the back of Jimbo. Jimbo was trying to let them on by in Satude Sports Truck, but they didn't make any contact. That's the good news. But hey, we want to mention that right now, up at the front of the field, as I just realized we are actually live, Mike Floppy Tellier has just worked his way up into the second position with a pass on Kristen Maher. Julian Tesoro now trying to run down the number 97 machine. But Andre, one thing I want to mention is that it's lap number 60, and in the first semifinal of the Best Patriotic Scheme, the number 30 of Julian Tesoro, currently running in the fourth position, carried the vote with 55% of the votes. We had 11 voters, and 6 of those voters have chosen the number 30 as the Best Patriotic Scheme here tonight. Now we can end that poll. We'll go over into the second semifinal here in just a moment. And in the next round, we're going to have a couple of the drivers as Tesoro works his way up into the third position. But in this next round, we're going to have this driver currently riding in the fifth position. That is the number 2 of Justin White, the Grinds Coffee Pouches Chevy Silverado. And he will face off with the number 39 BeerStreetJournal.com machine driven by Stan Hausman. So we'll check in on them a couple of times, and hopefully you could get your vote in for either the number 39, or the number 2 of Justin White. So Andre and another 2 really good schemes here duking it out for the second semifinal.
This round might actually be harder than the first round. That number 2 looks really good with the number, having the red, white, and blue in the number itself. I really like that. That had to be really difficult to do when he was painting that. But that number, the Beer Street Journal car as well, he's looking pretty good himself. Whoa! Bit of a moment there coming out of the corner for Adam Dama. Just a little bit of a love tap to the wall, but he's going to get it going straight again. But that Beer Street Journal truck, that looks pretty nice too. So I'm going to have to think about what I'm going to vote for here.
Yeah, so the poll has just gone live. Make sure you vote for either Stan Hausman or Justin White up there. If you want to see one of those schemes make it into the final round, they will be duking it off with the number 30 of Julian Tesoro for the best paint scheme here tonight. And of course, then we get to do it all again next week at USA International. But the winner of the best patriotic scheme this week does not get to win next week as well. So the winner from this race event not eligible next week, but really cool nonetheless to have that courtesy of our friends over at beerstreetjournal.com with that extra money on the line. But right now, things kind of settling out just a little bit, Andre. We got some drivers on fresher tires than some drivers. This driver right here, the number 29 machine of Adam Newton, is on fresher tires than the few trucks in front of him, currently riding in the 9th position. He's one of the last drivers to come down pit road and is catching the drivers in front of them about 0.3 of a second per lap.
Yeah, I like the strategy play by the number 29. Just holding out a few extra laps. That's got him on better tires. It's got him closer to splitting the race in thirds. He's still just a couple laps off that mark, but a whole lot closer than the rest of the field. And I think it's going to continue to pay off throughout the course of this race as he is closing in. And, you know, normally when you take that strategy, you kind of think, well, eventually they're going to hit the tire wear plateau is what we call it, where eventually the newer tires and the older tires just kind of even out and nobody has the advantage. But we didn't really see a plateau before the pit stop here, Peter. I mean, everybody was continuing to lose time on a pretty consistent basis until they came down pit road. So 29 has an advantage now, and I think he's going to keep that advantage throughout the whole run.
Yeah, he pitted on lap number 54, the number 64 that he's running down in front of him. Vincent Valvano pitted 5 laps before him, and that right now is about a 0.3 of a second per lap difference. As he's finally caught up to that number 64, looks to the inside, and I believe he'll make this pass look quite easy here in turn number 3. Does so indeed, so move the number 29 back up into the 8th position with that move. You're not missing a whole lot up at the front. There's Mike Floppy Tellier, who's pulled away a little bit over Julian Tesoro. Tesoro's kind of not quite been able to shake the number 17 of Tristan Maher, who of course was our points leader for a good portion of the season entering into tonight, but had that pit road speeding penalty at the Texas Motor Speedway in our last race 2 weeks ago. That put him well deep in the field, could not ever get back to the lead lap, finished in the 14th position, well behind our race winner, the number 1 of Jason Gracias. So Maher really needing a little bit of a rebound race here tonight, and currently ahead of our new points leader, the number 99 of Philip Scott, who rides back in the 7th spot, at least for now. But Maher really trying to put the Eclipse Photography F-150 back inside the top 5 here tonight.
Absolutely. Sorry there, Peter. Had a bit of a distraction there. But yeah, that number 17, really solid at the start of the year. And I think he can get back on top. It's just going to be a matter of getting that momentum back. Anytime you have a string of bad races, it really stalls out your momentum, and sometimes it just kind of snowballs. But hey, just like one bad run can kind of change the course of your season, so can one good run. And Maher is looking pretty quick tonight, so maybe things finally starting to get going once again for him. But look at this closing rate between Newton and Philip Scott. Obviously, that number 29's got the fresher tires, and you can see it in those lap time intervals. 0.3, 0.08 of a second, 1/10, 0.09. And of course, stalling out just a little bit as he got behind him. That dirty air will do wonders to slow you down, even if you got fresher tires. But really closing in on 7th place. And tell you what, if he pulls that strategy again and nobody really counters it in any way, I think you might see this 29 sneaking into the top 5 by the end of the night.
Yeah, I agree. That number 29 of Adam Newton has this season had a few really standout runs. He's never been out of the picture, Andre. Always kind of lurking around the top 5, and he's one of those drivers sometimes where as the race goes on, he just kind of creeps up closer and closer to the front. I think he really learns the track as the race goes on. He does have those NSRA rookie stripes on the back of that Budweiser machine. That's those bright yellow stripes that you see right there on the rear bumper. So he's one of those drivers, as we go week in, week out, he's learning how to race and figure out how to make that truck go faster as the race goes on. I know personally that happens to me a lot, Andre. It's early in the race. I won't be the fastest car, but I try and figure out the race. I try and become more competitive racing with the trucks around me. And that allows me to save tire as the night goes on and really gain speed throughout the night, and that's really what Adam Newton does. He does it really, really well as he continues to hunt down the number 99 of Philip Scott in front of him. You can see that they're both running down, however, the number 69. That is Dominic Tesoro, currently riding in the 6th position. This is going to be a three-way battle for 6 here in just a moment.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty good. I'm kind of surprised by the number 69 starting to kind of lose pace here. He's been getting a little bit slower throughout the run. I'm not sure if he was just a little bit too hard on the tires and now he's trying to take it easy or what's going on. But regardless of the cause, we got this three-way battle. And 29 pretty much on the freshest tires out of all of them. He's just hoping he can find an opportunity to get around these guys. I mean, he's clearly got the faster truck. Like we talked about earlier, one-lane track. You really don't have very many options. You're not going to sling it around the outside up on that Larson line and make it work. You've just got to ride behind, be a little patient. And luckily, I don't think Adam Newton's going to have any issues with patience. This whole strategy that he's pulling basically banks on patience. It's waiting to come down pit road, knowing that you're giving up time in the short term, and then kind of getting that time back and more over the long haul. So we'll see exactly how it plays out, but this battle is pretty good. A little bit loose out of the corner for the 99. That actually opened up the door to Adam Newton. Now he's going to get to the bottom. That's one more position to gain. Now he's got to get around that number 69 for P6 if he can do it. But look at this. Maybe a crossover by Philip Scott. Not quite. We've seen a few potential crossovers, Peter, but they all seem to fade out before they get to the corner.
Yeah, at least for right now, we got this three-way battle for the 6th position, but looking a little bit closer towards the front of the field. We got a battle between these drivers right here. These three. Julian Tesoro was just able to work his way around Mike Floppy Tellier for 2nd, and Tristan Maher, great job by the 17. We saw him falling back a little bit on older tires, but he was able to stick with Julian Tesoro and just got 3rd position back from the number 97 of Tellier, and not too far out of the picture. Here comes Justin White, one of the drivers who is in our poll right now for the Best Patriotic Scheme semifinal number 2. 6 drivers in all participating here tonight. But Justin White right there got the fireworks on the number 2 Chevy Silverado here tonight. He's trying to track him down as well. So a couple of these drivers doing a good job. Middle of the run, Andre, we saw drivers start to pit around lap number 50 under the first green flag pit stop. We're closing in on that again as Mike Floppy Tellier having to deal with the lap traffic of Doug Neal.
Yeah, not only dealing with the lap traffic, but also getting a little bit squirrely. That allowed the number 2 to close up to that rear bumper, and now it's going to be a bit of a battle. He didn't really, I mean, we've talked about dirty air a little bit, but I know at a track like Dover, if you enter the corner and you've got somebody right up on that spoiler, even in the trucks, it'll make that thing feel real weightless and real loose. So you can really do a lot to unsettle your competition as the pit sequence has officially began with Philip Scott. This is a bit surprising. Lap 87 out of 180. So he can't make it to the end from here, Peter. I mean, he's got to pit another time after this.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like a 3-stop strategy for Philip Scott here tonight. Oh, my goodness. I thought that was going to be a little bit of contact between Dominic Tesoro and the number 29 of Adam Newton. I think it scared the number 69 into giving up that spot. He will slide back behind the rear tailgate of the Budweiser Toyota right there. So move Adam Newton up one more spot up into the 6th spot. Philip Scott has left his pit stop, so just 4 fresh tires and plan stop by number 99. There he is on the bottom side of the racetrack, coming back up to speed. You see right now scored in the 16th position. You can lose 1 to 1.5 laps here at Dover International Speedway when you go down onto pit lane to make a stop, because it's only 1 mile in length and you look around this joint in a hurry. These drivers now running about 25-second flat lap time, so about 1.7 seconds slower than some of the fastest laps that we have seen here tonight on fresh tires. But here comes Tristan Maher, showing that he's figured out that long run pace, Andre. He pitted 1 lap before Julian Tesoro did. So he's got 1 lap older tires. It doesn't sound like a whole lot, and it isn't in the grand scheme of things, but usually that's enough of an advantage here at this racetrack that a driver with 1 lap fresher tires will have an advantage. But Maher really showing that he's figured something out here.
He's definitely found some speed. I mean, he is right on the bumper. He's actually going to set up this pass on the straightaway. Can he get there? Yes, he can. Now he's to the bottom. I think this is going to be all she wrote for the number 30 because, as we said, once you get to the bottom, there's just not a whole lot of defense to play up top. The truck just does not have the grip to try to put the throttle down and keep them pinched down underneath you. So 17 is going to move up into P2, and both these guys are about 3.5 seconds, give or take, from our leader, Jason Gracias, who has really started to open up a gap. And this is the first time all night we've seen the leader open up that big of a gap. I mean, Gracias is on rails right now.
Yeah, and doing exactly what he did at Texas Motor Speedway last time out as well 2 weeks ago. Was able to zip away from the field there. You got Vincent Valvano on pit lane right now in his number 64 Bagcraft for the Ford F-150. So another driver electing to come down pit road right here and now. Just looking up and down the field, seeing a whole lot of battles. This one right here, the number 48 Tom Lester, about a half second in front of Tyler Bellinger. We did have Ty Styles in the chat rooting on Bellinger in that number 21 Ford F-150. Just hasn't been the night Tyler Bellinger has so far wanted in that number 21 machine. Maybe needs a caution or two to reset the field. And of course, we might see a caution flag during pit cycles. That isn't out of the question here at Dover International Speedway. Just looking over at the chat, we have RC Plains 59 joining us saying, checking in, go Philip, one of our 3YTV pit crew members. If you want to become a 3YTV pit crew member, get custom emotes and a little badge next to your name. All you have to do is hit that join button here on YouTube for just $1 a month, which comes directly to us here, the broadcasters. We do appreciate it. Anything that you wish to join in on, and if you appreciate what we bring here each and every week on the channel, you can do so as well, as Bellinger able to make that move in the Quality Care F-150, making a quality pass with some careful care there, Andre. As Tom Lester can... Oh, he's doing it again! Here, Andre! Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, no! Not so lucky this time, as Lester... Well, he did it so well first time, Andre. That time, not so much.
Well, say lightning doesn't strike twice, but the pit barrels sure do. That, unfortunately, was a heavy hit to the passenger side. You can see that right front wheel well is pretty well bent in, as well as the door pretty much all the way back to that tailgate. So he's going to have some damage to beat out, and I think the pit crew members are going to have to find the sledgehammer and the Sawzall and see if they can't fix up. We got more issues on pit road. The number 2, he's continuing to have issues, sliding all over the place, continuing to kind of get a little loose there. Let's take a look at a replay, see exactly what happened to that Grinds Coffee Pouches truck. Looked like with another truck being so close, I got to wonder if maybe he had a little help. Again, this transition from the track to the banking is brutal, and you can see he's actually a little sideways already, and a hard hit, and that damaged the front end of the number 30, who has been a very competitive truck all night. That could be engine damage for Tesoro.
Yeah, it is definitely engine damage for the number 30 machine here tonight. Winner of our first semi-final in terms of the best paint scheme here tonight. That is just absolute rotten luck for those drivers. Let's get one more look at this one. That was after it had already happened. Let's see if we can go back maybe just a little bit further here, folks. And yeah, this should do the trick. Let's go on board actually with Julian Tesoro, see what he had to see. There's the number 2, just not getting it low down in time. Tesoro did a good job. It's just absolutely nowhere for the number 30 to go. That is heartbreak for the number 30. And, you know, I got to say, Julian Tesoro's probably had the worst luck of anyone so far this season, Andre. That just adds to that tally.
And he's been so fast every week, too. I mean, he's had such a good truck. We know that he's got the talent. It's just... Some guys, man, if they didn't have bad luck, they'd have no luck at all. And I think he's just, unfortunately, one of those drivers. He won the first paint scheme poll, but that's looking like it might be the only thing he wins tonight, unfortunately. So we'll be on to next week at USA for that 30 team, as the engine repair will take quite a while. I'd assume even if they get it repaired, it wouldn't be until around lap 130, 140, and by then we'll be pretty close to wrapping this race up. So on your screen, that is the number 59. I believe he has inherited the lead through all of this pitting chaos, kind of holding out and just biding his time, maybe taking a page out of Adam Newton's book, trying to stay out a little bit longer. As he's got a 3-car train behind him, and they are closing in fast. Peter Phillips Scott, alongside a few other trucks that are going side by side behind him, and they are there. That is the closing distance, and that's the difference between fresh tires and old tires. Is he's going to move down to the bottom, let these guys go. Very clean move there, very respectful. He's going to try to get back in line for the corner, but going to have to pit sooner or later.
Yeah, number 59 still clicking away laps, and he just looks so slow compared to those drivers on the fresh tires, but that's because he is last time by a 26.3 second lap time for our race leader. Mike Floppy Tellier, who's the first driver on fresh tires, a 23.78, so 2.5 seconds faster was Mike Floppy Tellier that time by, and really that means that Tellier will be the race leader in about 3 laps at the latest, because of that closing rate right now as he gets on by Dalton Hayes in the number 47. But Tellier is about 0.8 of a second in front of Jason Gracias, but Tellier did pit 4 laps before the number 1 machine, so Jason Gracias will be using those fresh tires to close in on the Hello Kitty. Number 97, winner of a race earlier this season at the Bristol Motor Speedway, was Mike Floppy Tellier. So Tellier trying to get his second win of the season here tonight. Tristan Maher had an extended pit lane time. He's now fallen about 3 seconds behind Jason Gracias, had a 56-second pit lane time. Compare that to 52 of Jason Gracias. So not sure what all happened there with Tristan Maher. Maybe he had to throw it in reverse or something. He's racing there around the number 39 of Stan Houseman. So folks, if you are here, we do have a poll up at the top of the screen for the best patriotic scheme in the second semifinal. We got the number 39 machine that you see right there, Stan Houseman, currently running in the 10th position right there. One of the drivers, if you like that scheme, well, you can vote for that scheme. The other driver is Justin White, and I don't even know if Justin's still out there on the racetrack or not. Oh, there he is. He's on pit lane. There is his paint scheme. See if we can get kind of another look at that maybe from a slightly different. Now that's a terrible angle. That's not a great angle either. I think we can go to. We can get the people out there on pit lane. Yeah, there we go. We got someone out there on pit lane with the 3-wide TV camera. Got all them fireworks out, but I don't think those are the fireworks that he was hoping for here tonight.
No, definitely not what he was looking for. Definitely didn't expect the Grinds Coffee Pouches truck to grind the pit road barrels, but he's getting it fixed up. Maybe going to get back out there. He hasn't taken it behind the wall, so that's a good sign. We've had a little bit of attrition this race. Not a whole lot, but a little bit, enough where if we can get that thing back on track, he can salvage a few points. And, of course, Tesoro, another patriotic scheme there, trying to get that engine damage fixed. But, again, engine damage takes so long to get repaired. And, Peter, this race is it's clicking away quick. We're already on lap 110 out of 180. We've not had any yellows so far. And, man, every lap on pit road for him probably seems like an eternity. But this race is just blowing by.
Yeah, we have just eclipsed the 1 hour mark here on this 3-wide TV broadcast. And if you're just now joining us, 111 laps will be in the books this time by. And like Andre said, we've had no caution flags. It has been really, really impressive. David Buell, the last driver to come down pit lane to make his second pit stop. We expect to see one more stop here tonight out of the number 52 Simbox Chevy Silverado sometime with about 10 or so laps to go. He will relinquish his top 5 position. Jason Gracias was able to get around Mike Floppy Tellier, get himself back up to the front. Gracias by far has led the most laps here tonight. Did not start on the pole, started in 4th, but Andre Gracias got himself up into the front around lap number 20 here tonight, and he has not looked back.
No, he has been very solid all night long. One of the most consistent trucks on the track, and that's exactly why he's leading. This is a consistency track. It's not all about pace. He's just been really smooth, and looks like he's going to continue to be. And he's also been really good at navigating that traffic. Like right there, you saw he had no issues working his way around this lap traffic, which at Dover, sometimes it's pretty difficult. So it's been a really solid night for him so far, and as long as he can get this upcoming final stop down and then get it right, I don't know. This could be his night in that #1 truck.
Yeah, and if you're just now joining us, another storyline here tonight has been pit lane. That's right, we've had a couple of pit lane mishaps. Some drivers getting into those sand barrels right at the end of the pit lane, causing multiple car accidents just a little while ago with Julian Tesoro getting into the side of Justin White. It's not an easy pit lane to get onto. We mentioned that, Andre. And unfortunately for a couple of these drivers here tonight, that has held true. But we're looking at this battle right now between two drivers duking it out for a top 5 position. Vincent Valvano, who is currently, believe it or not, the last truck on the lead lap in the number 64, right behind the current points leader, Philip Scott, in his number 99, a throwback scheme here tonight, sporting the U.S. Army Air Corps scheme from the World War II trainers. Just to see a lot of steermen in that livery that you see right there on the number 99. But currently, Valvano pitted on lap number 91, so a little bit fresher tires than Philip Scott, who pitted, in fact, was one of the first drivers on pit road, Andre, on lap number 85. But right now, Valvano not quite able to get around that truck in front of him.
Yeah, we saw it earlier with Adam Newton. Sometimes having the fresher tires doesn't guarantee a quick pass. You kind of got to play by the same rules everybody else does. You just got to follow along and make sure that if they slip up, if they open the door just a little bit, then you're there waiting to take advantage of that, and that's exactly what he's doing. So, playing it smart. It's been a great night, all night for Vinny Valvano. Great qualifying effort, running really well tonight, currently just outside the top 5. And I think, give it a few more laps, he's going to be up in that 5th position. He's just got to wait it out. And sometimes, man, every once in a while, if a race is long enough and if drivers are dedicated enough to it, you can put rubber down at the top of this track, and it does become a little bit more viable as the night goes on. But these guys have been really dedicated to the bottom, so you can't really expect the top to come in. So we go on board. He's going to follow the number 99, and 99 just getting a little squirrely out of the corner. You kind of expect that. And running about half a lane higher, trying to stay in the clean air. Don't want to be right behind him, put yourself completely in dirty air. But that's going to be his view for a while, I think, Peter.
Yeah, I agree. We'll continue to ride on board here with Vincent Valvano. But we got some important stuff happening over in the chat. Let's start with the breaking news coming out of the number 69 camp. Dominic Tesoro in the chat saying they just lost power when he was running in the 5th position. The Tesoros have just the worst luck. I mean, we got Julian involved in an accident on pit lane. Dominic losing power at inside the top 5. Oh man, I hope the Tesoros can put together a good run, bounce back next week at USA International. We also got Alicia Casterline, who has joined the 3Y TV pit crew. Alicia, thank you very much. Get in the chat. Go use those custom emotes. There are custom emotes. Got green flag, got the 3Y TV. You got a yellow flag emote, which we don't get to use very often here in the National Sim Racing Association because they just keep races green flag. But I really appreciate that. But then we also, Andre, have the vote for the second semifinal. It's wrapped up, and it was a tie. Here's the rule in a tie. Here's the rule in a tie. Andre, I believe you voted. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay, you voted. I haven't voted. So my vote is going to go to Stan Houseman and the number 39 machine. Sorry, Justin. Don't hurt me too much. But it's going to go to the number 39 of Stan Houseman. So Stan Houseman will be going into the final alongside Julian Tesoro, who unfortunately still is on pit lane. So where is that number 39 machine right now on the racetrack, you ask? Well, currently, Stan Houseman is running in the 6th position. Tristan Maher is now on pit road. What has happened to the number 17 machine? Was having a good run here tonight, Andre. We'll go back to the vote here in just a moment. But the number 17 Eclipse Photography Ford F-150 comes up on Adam Dama and, heavy into the inside wall. Broken suspension. Night done for Tristan Maher, 2nd place in points.
Man, that is awful to see. He was having such a good run tonight, and I said earlier, I think this could be a turning point. He's had a few unlucky runs recently, and this one seemed to be kind of going the other way, but unfortunately, you can see he's coming out of turn 4, and he just slides up the track right there as the 28's coming down, and they just come together. And as we talked about on the top of the broadcast, this is one of the very few tracks with absolutely no runoff on the straightaways. As soon as you get sideways, the wall's there to catch you, and unfortunately, it caught the 17 a little bit too hard. Broken suspension, like I said, that will be his day done, but that's a shame. The only consolation he can really take is that a lot of drivers have had issues tonight, Peter. No cautions, but drivers having issues getting into pit road, drivers that have gotten some damage, just scraping the wall. It's really been a rough night for just about everybody, unless your name is Jason Gracias.
Yeah, and Gracias up front right now, almost over a 6-second lead now. That lead has ballooned about a second over the last 5 laps or so. Let's go pick up this battle. Andre, last time we checked in, Vincent Valvano was behind Philip Scott. Now, Vinny has got himself up into 4th here tonight. Qualified 3rd, running 4th. What a great night it's been for Vinny.
Yeah, it's been a phenomenal night. And you know, it doesn't really surprise me. Vinny has been getting just a little bit better every week that I've seen him race. It seems like every time he gets on track, he's just a little bit better. As Philip Scott down on the apron there, trying to come to pit road, I would assume, for his final stop. But yeah, back to Vinny. He's just been improving, Peter. If you were going to ask me who I thought was the most steadily improved and the most improved in general, I'm going to say Vinny. He's been getting better, and this race proves it.
Yeah, Vincent Valvano has been getting better as the season's been going on. That is for certain. Great run here tonight at Dover International Speedway. Can he squeak out a podium? But we're down to just 3 drivers on the lead lap. Can you believe it? As Gracias is picking up, laying him down. A couple of these drivers going to need some not Beer Street Journal. It's been a while since I've been able to say the Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award, because we just aren't handing out a bunch of them so far this season. But big shout out to our friends over at Brookstone Animal Hospital for sponsoring the Lucky Dog. Couple of things. Let's go over to the chat. We got the final round of voting for the most patriotic scheme here tonight. First of which was the winner of the first semifinal. That was the number 30 of Julian Tesoro. There we go. He's still out there on pit road in his scheme. Still trying to get as much damage fixed as possible. But he's got that camo looking thing. I don't even know how anyone can see it. It's camo. It's camouflaged. And then, of course, the second one is the number 39 machine of Stan Houseman. There is the BeerStreetJournal.com number 39 red, white, and blue machine. So those 2 drivers duking it out here tonight for the cash on 3 Wide TV. Really, really cool to have Beer Street Journal do that for the fans. And then we also have Tyler Talon in the chat joining the 3 Wide TV pit crew as well. Alicia Casterline saying melee. Yes, that is how you say it, folks. If you're Alicia Casterline and only Alicia Casterline. Not melee, but melee. We'll say it. We'll say it. We'll go with it. We'll roll with it. We'll roll with the punches. You know, roll with the punches like getting melee. But anyway, it is what it is, Alicia. We hope you continue to be a part of the 3 Wide TV pit crew, but we really appreciate your support here tonight and the custom emotes. Tyler Talon as well, rooting on Tyler Bellinger. Let's go check in on Tyler Bellinger because he's been slowly creeping up through the field. We just talked about Vincent Valvano creeping his way up there into the top 5, but currently Bellinger just outside the top 5 in the 6th position, trying to run down Stan Houseman. Unfortunately, Houseman has a little bit fresher tires than Bellinger. Bellinger has about 7.5 seconds on Blaine Sparling. So he's in a pretty comfy spot here, Andre, as we close in on the final 40 laps here at Dover.
Yeah, we got a lot of separation all through the field, and at a track like Dover, that is a commodity. That is really nice to have. This track's hard enough to drive by yourself, but when you got cars everywhere, low, high, in front, behind, that just makes it even more difficult as the 97 is going to make a pass here on the 21. But this separation, I'm sure, is a welcome change of pace from what we saw earlier for a lot of these drivers. Also on your screen, you might have noticed Mr. White in the number 2. Well, he's back on track, got some of that damage fixed up, and he's not going to be making up too many positions here, but he can salvage some points, and I like it. Tenacity, getting back out on track.
I'm reading up in the chat just a little bit. Jimbo saying that he says why I should read why she said melee. But I will say this. Jimbo's the one who said he's hit the wall too much. So maybe we've all just hit the wall too much, and Alicia's actually right. I mean, I'm just I'm just interpreting the chat right now. That's what they're saying in the chat. I can't deviate. Johnny Williams in the chat saying hello. Johnny, before we go any further, do want to say congratulations on becoming a grandfather again, having a newborn in the family. I'm sure that's why you got that family in town. Hope all is well with you and family, Andre.
I was going to say, this debate, it's been going on for about 15 years, I would say, with my sister and I. I remember back when we first got our Nintendo GameCube, we got Smash Brothers Melee, and we would argue quite frequently whether it was Melee or Melee. And obviously, I mean, the word is Melee. But yeah, that's just an interesting debate to have prop back up all these years later. I haven't really thought about that in a while.
Yeah, I know. Hey, the war rages on in the 3Y TV chat. The war raging on out there on the racetrack as Vincent Valvano is heading down pit road for his final pit stop of the night here with just under 40 laps left to go. There is your race leader. When do we think Jason Gracias will come down pit road here, Andre? I would expect him to probably make it around to about lap 150 or so, and then have that final 30 laps on fresh tires. He's got a healthy lead right now. Although Mike Floppy Tellier missed it, but the number 97 came down pit road. He's gotten back out there on the racetrack in the 6th spot. So Tellier has made his final pit stop here tonight as well. All of the drivers in front of him yet to make their final stops. Valvano is now working his way back out onto the racetrack. Another good pit stop for the 64 crew.
Yeah, that couldn't have been much better for Valvano. When he came down pit road, he didn't just head down pit road. He flew down pit road. He was kind of initial D drifting it on that apron and somehow got it woed up in time to meet that pit road speed limit. So pretty much how you want to do it. I mean, the faster you can get in, the better. You just got to ride that line, and that is exactly what he did. We got another truck coming down pit road. I believe that is Gracias, race leader, making his way down pit road, or former race leader. So he's going to get that car service. This will be his final stop, and I believe within a few laps we'll pretty much have everything cycled out. It will just be an organic race to the end. See if Gracias can get a clean stop. He's been pretty good on pit road all night long, and I gotta say, I'm surprised that we saw a few 3-stop strategies tonight, Peter. I mean, Philip Scott among them. I really thought just splitting it up into thirds would have been the way to go, but Dover's an interesting track, and I guess with this race distance, the strategy got interesting too.
Yeah, with the fall, we have seen about 2 seconds over a long green flag run, 2 to 2.5 seconds rather. I think it just lends itself to a 3-stop strategy because this pit lane is not the longest pit lane in the world. The pit boxes are relatively short. It's one of those that has a relatively high pit road speed. You definitely don't waste a lot of time getting onto pit lane because of the way you have to enter this pit lane. So I think just that 2.5 seconds a lap has kind of caught up with these drivers and has led to that 3-stop strategy. So the number 21 right there, Tyler Bellinger, was up into second briefly. He's now coming down to see his pit crew right here make his final pit stop of the night. That will leave Adam Newton in the number 29 machine all alone on the lead lap. That's right. There's not a single truck besides the number 29 machine, Adam Newton, currently on the lead lap here right now at Dover International Speedway. Of course, a caution flag would help his situation, but you don't have to go too far back for Jason Gracias, who is trying to unlap himself, and with that move, we now have 2 trucks on the lead lap, and here comes Mike Floppy Tullier just a couple of truck lengths behind. He will get himself back on the lead lap, and now we're up to 3 trucks on the lead lap as we close in on 30 laps to go here in the first race of the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series Star Spangled Bash. And of course, if you had not checked out the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series, there's a link to the Podbean in the description of the video below. You can listen to all of their news, of course, covering a lot of interesting things that are happening right now in and around the NFL. Of course, it's the offseason for most of the big U.S. sports besides the NASCAR and baseball, but there's a lot happening even in the offseason that Jimbo and the gang get to talk about each and every week. So go hit up their Podbean. It's the number 29 of Adam Newton is rolling on to pit lane right now. And oh, look at this battle. We've seen this one before here. Andre Philip Scott and Vincent Valvano duking it out for position yet again.
Yeah, these guys are no strangers to each other, and it looks like this time the 64 is actually going to get to the bottom and you make short work of him here, which I'm sure he's wishing he could have done that earlier in the race, but hey, he got the position. Now he's just got to try and set sail. I also want to point out, when the number 29 does finally pit, he's going to have way fresher tires in the field, and that's an advantage he's going to have at the end of the race, and he is in his pit stall, so he's going to lose some time here for having stayed out as long as he did, but good news for him now is he can just put the hammer down. He can absolutely just push that car as hard as he possibly can. Only a handful of laps in this race. If he can get something out of those fresh tires, well, then he's going to do it. So we'll see how much time he can make up. But here we go. Jason Gracias, Philip Scott in the same frame here. Again, we've seen this before. 3-truck battle for position. Gracias, one of the fastest, if not the fastest truck of the night. Definitely the truck to beat. So we'll see where he cycles out. If he can get back up into the lead here. I believe he has. The results here, yes, Jason Gracias is back in the lead. Mike Tullier, P2. And Valvano is third, 22 seconds back, according to timing and scoring. But, man, this has been a very topsy-turvy race, Peter.
Yeah, right now the number 64, like you mentioned, Vincent Valvano is riding in the third spot, currently on the lead lap, but pitted about 4 laps before Jason Gracias. So could be in danger of losing that lap here as we have 26 laps to go. Got to keep our eyes, though, like you mentioned, on Adam Newton. He's currently about 5.7 seconds behind this driver that we focus on right here. So that's plenty of time for Adam Newton to use his 10-lap fresher tire advantage to close in on the third position here that's currently held by this driver that you see right here. And speaking of Adam Newton, already making some passes for position and getting around some lap traffic. Tyler Bellinger a little bit further behind, just got around the number 77 of Doug Neal to get himself up into the 7th position. And what about Stan Hausman in the number 39 BeerStreetJournal.com machine? He just got himself past Philip Scott. He moved up into the 4th position. So what a good run it has been for Stan Hausman. And folks, remember that number 39 is in the running with Julian Tesoro for the best looking patriotic paint scheme. Julian Tesoro unfortunately has now left the racetrack. So you might have to rewind to the start of the race. Hopefully YouTube allows you to rewind to the start of the race to get a good look of the number 30. It's a really good looking paint scheme in the running now for the best looking paint scheme here tonight. We got a couple of votes currently. We're sitting right now at 12 votes. 9 of those 12 votes are in favor of Julian Tesoro's number 30 machine here tonight. So if you're a Stan Hausman fan, and you like the number 39beerstreetjournal.com/F150, well, go get on Facebook. Go share the link to this YouTube video. Go Facebook message people. Go text people the link, whatever. Because you have 21 laps left to get Stan Hausman more votes than Julian Tesoro. That is going to be a tall task, I think, with the current polls very much swinging in favor of Julian Tesoro's way. Let's look a little bit further back. Stan Hausman, though, just got passed in that brief moment by the number 29 of Adam Newton, who now is going to try and set sail to close onto the back bumper of Valdano's machine.
Yeah, he's got to make something happen quick. 20 laps sounds like a lot, but at Dover, they're clicking off pretty quick. So he's got the fresher tires. He's just got to push that truck. You can see that is how much time he's making up on 5 tenths, 9 tenths, 7 tenths, a whole second on lap 159, then down to 6 tenths there on 160. So he is closing the gap consistently. And again, this strategy has just been phenomenal, Peter. He was pretty much the only guy in the entire field to go out on a limb and to try this, and it's really working out. I'm not sure that truck is a top 5 truck, but he's wheeled it into the top 5. Now trying to make a move here on the number 1. What a night it's been for Adam Newton, and just a brilliant strategy play.
Yeah, what did we say about Adam Newton? Right there around the I think it was just after lap 90, around lap 100, somewhere around there, we said Adam Newton just figures out the racetrack as the race goes on. He slowly creeps his way up through the field, and he's had some stellar runs. At that point, he was 6th or 7th position, thereabouts. He's just now worked his way onto the podium, I think, for pretty much the first time here tonight. Great run for this team. Needed a good run. Needed to find some consistency here in the middle portion of the season, and he's just going to check out now and completely pull away. Going to try and pull himself away from the number 1 machine of Jason Gracias. We currently ride with just 3 trucks on the lead lap, with Jason Gracias, our race leader, of course, being on the lead lap. Mike Tellier being on the lead lap, about 3.5 seconds behind the number 1. The next truck is the number 29 machine of Adam Newton, and you can see Adam Newton just 2 trucks in front of the number 1 machine. So 3rd place is almost a lap down. It has been one heck of a night for Jason Gracias. Trying to go back-to-back as well. 2 weeks ago at the Texas Motor Speedway, a caution-free race. In fact, we're going to try and go 2 races in a row caution-free, but Jason Gracias got that win by 1/10 of a second after 117 laps at Texas. It was an incredible race. All of the 175 miles that we ran there. Here tonight, 180 miles. We could go here, Andre, about 350 miles of consecutive racing in the NSRA Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series of green flag, which is incredible. You go back to Talladega, which was the race just before Texas Motor Speedway. How many cautions did we have at Talladega? We had 1 caution back at Talladega. It has just been so impressive. And of course, before Talladega, we had Darlington. And the race at Darlington, how many cautions? None. The only caution, if we go green to the end, the only caution we would have had in the last 4 races was one at Talladega. How incredible is that?
It is absolutely astounding. I know for a lot of racers on any service, be it iRacing or really any other sim, the number one thing you're looking for in a league is you want a group of clean racers. You want races that stay green as much as possible, drivers who drive with respect, who treat each other well on the track. And I don't think I've ever seen a league like this one. The NSRA Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series is easily the cleanest series I've ever seen. And I've been around sim racing for quite some time. These guys, they not only put on great races and really entertaining battles and just a great show every week, but they race so clean. There's so much respect on track, and you can just see that in the way that they navigate around the track and how they work around each other. It's incredible. You're not going to see that many NASCAR leagues on iRacing that can go as long as we've went without a yellow flag. I mean, one yellow flag at Talladega is just about unheard of. It's incredible.
Yeah, it is absolutely incredible. As we're looking at this battle right now for the 4th position between Vincent Valvano and Stan Hausman. Just under a half second right now. In fact, you can see Stan Hausman now has clean traffic or clean air between himself and the number 64 as they try and close in with 8 laps to go. You can definitely see that Hausman is closing a little bit on the gap tracker there. See whether or not he can not only close in but get around, because catching him is one thing, passing him is another. The best battle on the racetrack right now. Blaine Sparling in the number 59 machine. He's kind of on his own island, about 5 seconds plus separating him and the other drivers around him. Tyler Bellinger in 7th, also same story. Philip Scott, same story. Not really anyone nearby. 4.7 seconds back to Tyler Bellinger. Back here, 10th position. This is David Buell, one of the Simbox machines. He's 15 seconds behind Doug Neal, 11 seconds ahead of Tom Lester. Doug Neal is 7.5 seconds behind Blaine Sparling. And a little bit further back, bigger gaps. Tom Lester is about 28 seconds in front of Jason Chu, so a full lap ahead of the 12th place machine. Jason Chu has about a minute over Adam Donna. Big gap from Jason Chu back to the 128 machine. And Dalton Hayes is another minute back. Justin White still running around out there on the racetrack after his pit lane mishap. Kristen Maher in 16th, first driver off the racetrack. Dominic Tesoro in 17th had his connection issues with losing power. Of course, we saw what happened to Julian Tesoro. But some big gaps here at the end of the race. Jason Grassi is up to a 5 or so second lead on Mike Tellier, almost 6 seconds now, as the lap count is down to just 4.
Not much racing left to go, and our leader kind of running away with it here, so all he's got to do is hit his marks. Mike Tellier has run a phenomenal race tonight. He's just a little bit off of Jason Grassi. The pace has just been a hair off all night, and now with 5 second gap and just a few laps left, these guys are just going to have to hit their marks. They're kind of settled into where they're going to run. And again, Adam Newton in 3rd, you cannot give him enough credit for the strategy and the phenomenal night that he's had. But man, oh man, Dover, sometimes the spectators and drivers alike dread coming to Dover. It's not always historically the most entertaining racetrack, but leave it to these guys. Every time we come to a track that historically maybe isn't the best, like when we went to Texas, these guys take a track that's maybe not the best, and they still make a show out of it. That's exactly what these guys have done tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. White flag in the air for Jason Gracias in the number 1 machine. You can see right there just where all the drivers are on the racetrack relative to the start-finish line, which is on the bottom of that graphic. But the number 1 onto the backstretch for the final time, looking for his 4th points-paying win of the season. Has won at Homestead, has won at Darlington, has won at Texas, comes out of turn number 4, and has now won at Dover International Speedway. The Monster Mile is claimed here tonight by Jason Gracias. Tellier going to come home in 2nd. 3rd place, barring any disaster, Adam Newton, and he'll come out of turn number 4 to take the checkered flag in 3rd, rounding out our podium here tonight in what was a torrid pace on the 1 mile concrete oval here. But Andre, this is a tough racetrack to do burnouts at. Let's see what Jason Gracias can do in that MaxGrafix Toyota Tundra.
A little bit of a celebratory nudge from Tellier there. Might have been more than a nudge, but that's all right. We don't need to bring this car back next week. We're going to be running a different short track truck. So he's going to be able to burn this thing to the ground, maybe. Put her in reverse, and there we go. Yeah, he don't need that much. He can make it work.
Yeah, that's a pretty good burnout here for Dover. It's a hard one to do a burnout at. Yeah, able to do so, but wow, doing a good job, showing that he's had some practice over the last little bit here in the National Sim Racing Association. That is for sure.
Oh, yeah, look at that. There we go.
Definitely going to be fun to interview the number one machine of Jason Gracias here in just a moment. In fact, going to be fun to interview all of our top 3 finishers here tonight on 3Y TV, as Gracias, he hasn't lost the motor just yet, but I wouldn't be all surprised if that engine decides to give up the ghost here in just a little bit. Let's see if we can bring up tonight's 3rd place finisher, driver of the number 29 machine. We mentioned that he has a way of slowly but surely moving up through the field in these races. And here tonight, Adam, on the podium, 3rd place. What a good result for you here tonight.
Yeah, it was a good finish.
It definitely looked like a handful, as Dover usually is here tonight, but the drivers kept things clean. Are you surprised that we've had our 2nd consecutive row without a caution flag at a track as difficult as Dover?
Very surprised. Very surprised.
Well, you go from Dover here tonight, this 1 mile racetrack. Next week, we go to USA International. Short track, beating and banging. If we go caution free next week, I think everyone deserves $10 in the field with the money on the line. But are you looking forward to racing on the short track next week?
Oh, absolutely. I love USA. I do a lot of racing there in the late models and super late models, so looking forward to it.
Definitely one of those racetrack with it being so flat, you're going to have to watch out for the brake bias for sure. What do you think the keys to next week's race are going to be? Do you think it's going to be staying out of trouble, or do you think it's going to be modulating the brake, or what do you think is going to lead to a successful run next week?
A little bit of both. The right front burns up there pretty quick. Brake bias is really going to be a key too, but just taking your time, taking care of your tires, and staying out of trouble, survive. That's going to be the key.
You've definitely shown so far this season that you do a really good job of keeping your truck clean. And here tonight, not a scratch on the number 29 Budweiser Toyota. Tell us what goes into that. How much focus and concentration goes into lap after lap, avoiding that wall, because it's very easy to sometimes get complacent and end up smacking it.
Yeah, trying to hit your marks. I chose the wrong deal tonight. But hitting your marks, letting off the gas, getting back in the gas in the same areas, that'll help you keep your nose clean and stay off the wall. And, just being patient. And pit road. Pit road was key tonight. It seemed like a lot of people had problems on pit road, which is not good. I thought that kind of really broke the field up, but it is what it is when you go green flag.
Well, it is a great finish for you and that number 29 machine, and I know you're excited to go to USA International Speedway next week. But here, tonight, finishing on the podium. Before we let you go, any shout-outs you'd like to give out?
Yeah, I want to give a shout-out to my teammates at Simbox, and thank you all for doing the broadcast. Really appreciate it, and congrats to Jason. He ran a great race, and Mike did too.
Absolutely. Well, Adam, congratulations on finishing on the podium. Hopefully you can back that up with another podium next week here on 3Y TV. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, that's going to do it with tonight's 3rd place finisher. We believe that Andre Grandbush has caught up with the Canadian driver from Sarnia, Ontario, Mike Floppy Tellier.
Mr. Tellier, you got a copy?
I do.
Oh, Mike, you ran a phenomenal race out there, finishing P2. Not a bad night, especially at a track like Dover. I got to ask, how do you feel about this track? It's got to be one of the more difficult mile circuits that we go to, and you had a lot of speed there.
Dover is one of my favorite tracks. I mean, I don't always run well here, but I've always liked Dover because it can be a challenge. And yeah, no, it was a challenge. Man, Miles came out and grabbed me a couple times, and I think that's what cost me the most. Was I hit the wall at either 2 or 4 there once or twice, and I had 30 seconds of damage and slowed me down.
Yeah, we saw quite a few drivers get a little bit light over that bump on corner exit, and it kind of slid them up to that outside wall. How much did the body work damage kind of affect the aero of that truck? What was the handling difference like?
It definitely got tight. Like maybe not as much as it could have, or as much as I've experienced before, but or maybe I just didn't hit the wall as hard as I thought I did. But it got tighter than it was the first run, that's for sure. Um, so yeah.
It was another great points day, and from Dover this week to USA International next week, another really unconventional track. What do you think about USA?
Well, I'm not a fan, and luckily I won't be here. I'm only running this part time, so I'm here every other race basically. I have my kids next week, but yeah, it should put on a good show. Hopefully, there's not too many short track racing incidences.
Well, knowing this league, they'll probably do a good job keeping it clean, and hopefully you enjoy your family time. Maybe catch a little bit of the race on TV and see how it goes. But Mike, again, congratulations on P2. Phenomenal run out there, super consistent. Is there any shout outs you'd like to make?
Yeah. First off, my kids, TNR or Team TNR, that's NSRA, Beer Street Journal for putting on their little bash thing that they're doing the next couple weeks for you guys or sponsoring. Justin for running the series. Thanks a lot for letting me race, guys. And yeah, you guys for broadcasting every week. It's a blast being able to go back and watch, or like I said, next week watch live with my kids.
All right. Well, again, thanks for your time and congratulations on the podium, Mike.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Mike Tellier out of the booth. And now Peter Short's going to catch up with our race winner, Jason Gracias.
Yeah, I'm down here in victory lane with driver of the number one machine for the second consecutive race. Jason Gracias getting the job done in another caution-free race. Jason, we've had, we did the math, about 350 consecutive green flag miles here in the National Sim Racing Association. Of course, we expect that all to change next week at USA International. But a great run here tonight at Dover. Tell us about it.
Yeah, just kudos to all the drivers in this league for having the amazing skill set to have that many laps under green. So first of all, just kudos to all the drivers in the league. Um, Dover, I'm happy I made this race. Super bummed I missed Thursday, 2 weeks ago I think, or last week, or whatever. Dover's my favorite track. Every time I race here, it feels like I'm most snake bitten. I either get a bad time caution, or I get wrecked out, or I don't have the strategy. But finally, I pulled it off to win at Dover. This track to me is like the Daytona 500, the All Star race. This is my favorite track, home track. So super pumped to take this MaxGrafix #1 Toyota Tundra Pro to victory lane at the best track on the circuit, the Monster Mile, sponsored by Beer Street Journal.
No, it's definitely a good race, and I too really enjoy coming to Dover for it racing a little bit like a roller coaster. For all the fans watching at home that have never been able to race in the iRacing.com simulator, tell them what it's like to race around this joint from your perspective.
This track's really fast, and going into turn one is like a roller coaster. I was fortunate enough that for one of my birthdays, my sister surprised me with ride along tickets. And I can say going from turn one, or the front straightaway into turn one, is like a roller coaster. That 20-story drop into turn is super fun, especially if you hit it right. It feels good when the car can plant into the turn. So this is really a momentum track, like Philip said in our team chat today. And if you're able to keep your momentum up, not burn off the right front tire, keep it off the wall, Miles a monster would be nice to you. And today, Miles and me were friends, and I might have to take him out for a beer afterwards.
Well, a really good run for you and 2 consecutive wins and becoming our only 4-time winners so far this season in points paying event. It would be 5 if you consider the preseason event that we had back at Daytona. But a really good run for you here tonight. Jason, before we let you go, any shout-outs you'd like to give out?
First, thanks to NSRA admins, Justin White, for doing all he does for the league. Being an admin is a stressful job, but he's doing a really good job of it. Thanks to our presenting sponsor, Stay Tuned Sports. Check out his podcast on all major podcast platforms. Thanks to Stan Houseman for being the race sponsor and all he does for the league. Check out beerstreetjournal.com for all your beer aficionados at home. Today, I am drinking a Cape May Brewing Company brew. It's called Blueberry Lemon, crushing it. 8%, very good. Check out your local liquor store, pick some up. Thanks to Chris Darling, MaxGrafix, and MaxGrafix.co for always giving me some really nice looking paint schemes. Next week, I will have a new scheme to unveil if I am home to race, and I think I will be. Thanks to everybody else that makes this possible: Brookstone Animal Hospital, Taz Racing Customs, Eclipse Photography for the after race pictures. I'm looking forward to getting a new desktop background, Noah. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Thanks to Simbox, JNR Craftworks, and last but not least, thanks to 3Y TV for the broadcast. I'm going to show my wife later, and hopefully she doesn't call me a loser.
Well then, how about that? Number one machine, crushing it on the racetrack, crushing it with the beverages as well. Congratulations, Jason. We'll see you again hopefully next week, and hopefully we'll get to see that new scheme.
Yeah, thanks for everybody for coming out and watching the race, and thanks to Stan Houseman for all the sponsorships. I hope you guys voted for the best paint scheme, and I might be biased, but I think the Soros paint scheme was pretty all right, but I might be biased for the camo. So,
well, we'll let Jason Gracias go celebrate his win here tonight. And Julian Tesoro does pick up the best paint scheme here tonight. Won't be eligible next week, but congratulations to Julian Tesoro for the best paint scheme here tonight. Time to go through. Let's go through tonight's race sponsors. Of course, beerstreetjournal.com. Make sure you check them out for all of your craft beer news. I got to hear that Jason Gracias is a big fan of beerstreetjournal.com there just a little while ago. Of course, Stay Tuned Sports Podcast, the link to their pod being in the description. MaxGrafix.co, Brookstone Animal Hospital, still not giving out too many Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Awards, but make sure you check them out in the greater Atlanta, Georgia area. Taz Racing Customs, Facebook.com/Taz Racing Customs for custom diecasts. Maybe you're a Justin Gracias fan, or Jason Gracias rather, and you want to get him a custom diecast, or you want a custom diecast of the number one truck. Well, you can do so over at Facebook.com/Taz Racing Customs. Eclipse Photography, Simbox, of course, custom button boxes, Simbox PC. Their Facebook page, Facebook.com/Simbox PC. Go check them out if you want a button box for your sim rig. They are the place to go. Sponsor of the Simbox Biggest Mover of the Race Award, which tonight goes to Stan Houseman and the number 39 machine. JNR Craftworks.com. Go check JNRCraftworks.com out. They got some really cool custom artwork and custom things that they have handcrafted. So you can go pick up some really cool gifts and items that you can even customize a little bit. And really, really cool. Go check them out here on 3Y TV, link in the description. Unfortunately, cannot bring up the final race results. So, Andre, we're just going to go through the final race results. A little ticker at the top of the screen here. We'll roll back around here in just a second. Unfortunately, we still haven't worked out all the bugs and the gremlins here with the graphics package. And you know, it relies on the sim, and the sim finishes up and it says, we're done. It doesn't need to work anymore. Well, it does need to work. Yeah, anyway, it's just the graphics package. But taking home the win here tonight, the number one of Jason Gracias, Mike Floppy Tellier in second, Adam Newton, Vincent Valvano in fourth. Stan Houseman is going to round out tonight's top five. Finishing in sixth, we got Philip Scott, Tyler Bellinger coming home in seventh. Then in eighth position, we got Blaine Sparling, Doug Neal, and the number 52 machine of Buell round out our top 10, Andre.
And just outside of there, we got Lester in the number 48. We've got Shu P12, Adam Dama going to be P13. And yeah, it skipped a little bit too quick for me. Maher, Tesoro, and Tesoro, 17 and 18, respectively. Jimbo Casterline retires early, finishes 19th. And again, skipping a little bit too quick for me. Tompkins rounds out the field in P21. We apologize to the drivers we missed. Again, the thing just kind of scrolled a little too quick. And like Peter said, sometimes the graphics package just not working out to our advantage. But
Yeah, one day we'll have something better than iRacing, and it just work perfectly, right? That's what we can only hope for.
totally.
That's only, yeah. But speaking of only perfect race here tonight. No caution flags. Don't expect that next week at USA International. Short track, beating and banging, all of that good stuff. I'm looking forward to, we've seen a lot of green flag racing. We love seeing green flag racing, but maybe we've seen a little bit too much green flag racing. Hopefully a little bit closer and a lot more battles in next week there towards the end of the race. Definitely got a little bit spread out here tonight. But hey, as a driver in the field, you probably enjoyed every lap, because every lap tonight mattered here on this 1 mile racetrack. But folks, do want to make mention of the Beer Street Journal Star Spangled Bash. Here tonight, I'm unsure, as I read the rules closely, and I believe in order to be a patriotic scheme, you had to have a new paint scheme. I think that was in the rule, that it had to be a new paint scheme, and I believe that what the number one of Jason Gracias is run all season has been kind of his normal scheme, so I'm unsure whether or not he will be picking up the extra money courtesy of our friends over at BeerStreetJournal.com, because it says bonuses are only eligible to drivers who have an updated paint scheme. I'm not sure if that includes Gracias or not, but anyway, I'm not sure. We'll have to let the Beer Street Journal folks decide. But of course, the pole sitter here tonight was Philip Scott, picked up $5. A halfway leader went to Jason Gracias. Hard charger here tonight went to Stan Hausman, picking up $5. The winner of the race, of course, the number one machine of Jason Gracias. Fifth place finisher here tonight was Stan Hausman as well. So another $5 to Stan Hausman. And Stan can't finish 5th and 10th, but the 10th place finisher, David Buell, in the number 52. Not sure if he's eligible, as he did not have a patriotic paint scheme for that. I'm unsure who the highest finisher with at least 2x incident points was here tonight, but someone's going to pick up an extra $5. And then, of course, certain drivers will be eligible for the most improved finish next week at the USA International Speedway. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Andre, any final thoughts before we move on to next week?
Yeah, not a whole lot to say. The race was really fun to watch. The strategy made it really entertaining in my book. Again, watching that number 29 kind of break off from the standard strategy and then gain a lot from it. You always love to see that in motorsport. And mostly, I'm just really looking forward to next week. USA International, short track racing. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I think Brookstone Animal Hospital might finally get some use out of their sponsorship, because I think we're going to see more than one Brookstone Lucky Dog of the week. But we'll have to wait and see. Time will tell. Either way, I know it's going to be a fun race.
Absolutely. Well, folks, until then, stay safe and all that good stuff, and we shall see ya!